You're about to listen to an early episode of the podcast recorded when the podcast was still called Let's Talk About Stress. In this episode, we talk about gratitude, which is such a powerful tool in burnout recovery and with mental health generally. So I hope you enjoy it and find it inspirational. I certainly enjoyed having this conversation. It's nearly 10 years since my burnout experience, and I believe that it wasn't necessary for me to burn out, and it's not necessary for you either. In this podcast, my guests and I share our real-life experiences with burnout. We get into the science of stress and share actionable tips on how to prevent burnout and how to recover from it. I'm Anna Holden, ex-management consultant and burnout survivor. I work with management consultants to help them avoid and overcome burnout. I help them to get intentional about their choices, rebuild their energy, and embed new healthy habits so that they can get back to loving life. Welcome back to another episode of Let's Talk About Stress. Today we have an interview with Anna Stando. I know Anna as the creator of my Gratitude Challenge, which is a 28-day program that teaches you how to practice gratitude. But Anna also does corporate trainings on gratitude in the workplace and also on gender equality and on networking. So an interesting breadth of things. Welcome, Anna. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much, Hannah. It's lovely to be here. I have been following your journey for a while now and been so impressed with everything that you have achieved already so far. And I'm excited to be part of your podcast as well. So thank you for the invitation.
Thank you. So I was thinking, let's start with the basics because we're here to talk primarily about gratitude, and that's a term that we keep hearing at the moment. So it's becoming a bit of a buzzword, but we haven't necessarily settled on what gratitude is and what that means, and especially not when it comes to practicing gratitude, that as a practice. So could you start by explaining what gratitude is?
Yes, sure. So I like a definition that is by Robert Emmons, who is really the leading expert when it comes to gratitude. And he defines gratitude, or he believes that gratitude has two elements. The first element is to acknowledge that there are good things in your life, right? So acknowledge that there are things that you can be grateful for, good things that make you happy. And then the second element is recognizing that the source of all that good in your life is at least partially outside of your control. That you got it, not because you deserve it, not because you did something in a wonderful way, but that it has just been given to you, that you have benefited from certain circumstances, that you have had help along the way. Being aware of that is an important element of gratitude. And that's often also the part that people really struggle with, right? Because we have this tendency to want to be self-made, right? We glorify individualization. We are proud of our achievements, and rightly so as well. But because of that self-serving bias, which means that when things go right, we love to take the credit for it. And when things go wrong, we prefer to blame others. That's just in our nature. It's sometimes hard for us to feel gratitude because we feel like, well, we have worked pretty hard for what we've got. Why should I really be grateful for that? And personally, I believe that there is space for both. I'm a very strong advocate of owning your accomplishments. I think it's important that we take the time as well to appreciate our own effort and our own contribution in making something a success. And I believe that there is space as well to recognize that while we are working hard to achieve our goals, there were perhaps people who were supporting us on our way, or that we benefited from certain circumstances. And in my own story, I see that, I was incredibly lucky to be born at a certain time in history, and in particular, when I finished high school, Poland joined the European Union. And I wonder sometimes, if I was born 20 years ago, my life path would have looked perhaps different. It would have been much harder for me to go abroad and to work in a different country. And I am, yeah, incredibly grateful that it happened just at the right time for me because it really changed my life.
That's an,
Does it make sense?
yes, it does. Yeah, and I think it's interesting because I know that when I first started with gratitude, there were some things that, like you say, it's difficult to be grateful for because you feel like you earned it, like you worked for it. You could be grateful for your resilience and your sticking power. I'm grateful that I had experiences in my childhood that gave me the power to be able to create something. But sometimes, yeah, it feels hard to be grateful for something that you've worked so hard for and feel like you deserve. So that, yeah, that I found that really, what you were saying around that really interesting. And I also like what you were saying about the big picture of your life. Timing. We certainly didn't make conscious choices, right, around the circumstances of our birth. So you've gone to the trouble of creating a whole course on the topic of gratitude, which you've run a few times. Something must have happened in your life for gratitude to mean so much to you that you've gone to that trouble. So what's your personal story what's your personal journey with gratitude? How did you come to be so passionate about it?
Yes, you are absolutely right that I had that something happened in my life that brought me to gratitude. And I think it's around 2 years ago. It was autumn. It was cold, dark. The pandemic was raging, and I was highly pregnant with my daughter. And at the time, there was a lot of uncertainty around COVID, how it would impact my pregnancy, my birth. The US elections were going on, which were also stressing me. And yeah, and obviously, we were living in partial isolation because I was at high risk because of the pregnancy. So somehow I got myself in this mental space where I was just a little bit overwhelmed. I think I was worried. I was worrying a lot, and normally I am really a rather upbeat and optimistic person, but at the time of my life I found that it was sometimes hard to get out of bed, and I wasn't recognizing myself anymore. And of course hormones were playing a part of it, and the situation in the world. But I started to worry about my mental health because I thought, okay, this is not going into the right direction. And at the time, a friend of mine came across a book about gratitude. And she said, why don't we give it a try? Why don't we try practicing gratitude for, on a regular basis? And it sounded like, a sensible thing to do. So I was like, yeah, okay, I'm gonna try. I invited a friend as well to do it together with us, and we formed our little circle of three women, where we committed to practicing gratitude daily for a month. And honestly, it had a huge impact on my life. I couldn't believe that such a simple thing like practicing gratitude every single day, consistently, consciously, for a few minutes every day, was helping me to get out of bed, to be a little bit more optimistic about the future, that it was calming me, that I could breathe a little bit deeper again. So and honestly, on some days I really feel like I had nothing to be grateful for. Those days, right? You get up and everything is hurting, you didn't sleep well, and then you're thinking about your day ahead and you're like, oh. And even on those days, and maybe especially on those days where I didn't feel like I had anything to be grateful for, when I forced myself to do my gratitude practice, I could really feel the shift in my mood. And yeah, by the end of the 30 days, I really got out of the funk. And I got so fascinated with the topic that I kept on learning and practicing, out of curiosity. And then later, when I was on my maternity leave, so in spring, somewhere around March, April, I was still thinking about gratitude and its power, and I thought I want to share it with more people. I wanted to deepen my own gratitude practice again, so that's how it started. So on the long walks with my daughters, I started to create this program in my head that got bigger and bigger and bigger, and yeah, and it was just so much fun to work on that. And I started to talk to some friends about it, and they all wanted to be a part of it. So yeah, a year and a half ago, I ran the first pilot with a group of six people, and they have encouraged me to open it up to more people, because it also had a positive impact on their lives. And yeah, as you said, since then I have run it a few times, and I can see that when people practice gratitude, they feel the shifts in their lives as well. So, for example, one of the participants called Asha, she wrote that, you know, doing the challenge was really the highlight of her year. That it helped her to reframe some of the negative experiences that she had. Another participant, Somaya, who needed to flee her country because of war, and who ended up in Switzerland, told me that, okay, those intense feelings and the stress and everything, it's still existing, but doing the challenge gave her the hope for the future. It reduced her stress levels, and for the first time since many months, she feels optimistic about the future, and she has a tool to kind of cope with all the negative emotions. And I think that's important, right? That's because maybe it all sounded like gratitude was the magic pill that just dissolves all your problems and so on, but I don't want to give that impression at all, because I believe that gratitude is a tool that doesn't minimize your bad experiences, but it's a tool that can help you to get through them. And it can offset some of the negative experiences, some of the stress that you are feeling. Because what's happening is that, when we are just thinking about all those things that are stressing us, then we just focus on the negative. And practicing gratitude give us the possibility to create a counterbalance. To minimize some of those negative experiences.
Yeah, it's not about them not existing, it's about creating some balance, so we don't just obsess about, like you say, about the negative things, the stressful things. So this podcast is called Let's Talk About Stress, and I know I've used gratitude to shift my perspective, including in stressful situations, but could you give some insights into how somebody might use gratitude if they're experiencing stress, and how gratitude might be able to help somebody in that situation?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so when we are stressed, we are very likely to obsess about the things that are the source of our stress, which are by definition negative, because otherwise they wouldn't be stressing us. So our focus is very much on the negative. And we are likely as well to go through 1,000 of different scenarios in our heads of what might go wrong. So again, really focusing on the negative. And this is called negativity bias. So it means that our brains are wired for negativity. So we focus on what's going wrong, and we are far more likely to remember the negative experiences more than the positive experiences. So one way of changing our focus is to practice gratitude. And of course, that's really hard. That's really hard to do. So it requires a little bit of discipline, and sometimes a little bit of guidance as well. But if we can take a few minutes of our day to focus on the positive, then, as I was saying, we can help ourselves to see that not everything is bad. It gives us a new perspective. When we reach the advanced level of gratitude, we may even find a silver lining in the negative experiences that we are going through. So if you are listening to it, and if you're thinking, okay, I'm stressed, I've got no time, what can I do? How can I do it? Then I think then I think it's important to actually take time for gratitude. And I know that time is probably the last thing that you think that you have, but I think it's especially important that you do that to protect your mental health, because when we practice gratitude, we increase our capacity to deal with short and long-term stress. We build our resilience so we can bounce back from negative experiences faster, and we just increase our overall well-being. So one of the things that can be done is to start a gratitude diary. And then I would say it's actually important to take a few minutes, because if you are so stressed, then just mentally going very quickly in your head through a list of things that you can be grateful for is not going to be as impactful as if you take 20-30 minutes to write something down, because only then you will you will be able to get out of your stress. You need some time, you need some grounding, and you need to take the time to feel the gratitude in your heart, to feel your heart swelling with gratitude, so you can also experience the benefits of it.
We've already had another episode on journaling, which I think I kind of tie, for my personal practice, I kind of tie them all up. So if I'm experiencing something challenging, then I'll probably start with the challenging stuff. But it's useful to just get that down on paper and get perspective. And once it's on paper, stop stressing over it so much. And then also incorporate, like you say, it's not all bad. What do I have? What skills do I have? What help do I have to be able to address this situation? And actually the bigger picture. So I'm stressing over this one particular situation, but how's my health? How's my family? How am I financially? How am I? You can consider all those other aspects of your life, and then it kind of gets it into perspective. Suddenly that thing isn't kind of so all encompassing. It's in that perspective, that balanced view that you were talking about.
Yeah, exactly. I really like how you have summed it up.
Now, I'm really fascinated with a slightly adjacent topic, because you do you go into corporates, into workplaces, and do coaching in there. And I'm really interested in how you bring gratitude into the workplace, because for my personal practice, gratitude has been a very personal thing. So I think about, I'm grateful for my family, for my health, for those non-work things. And in a work context, I might be thinking, well, I'm really grateful that I've got a team around me. I'm grateful that I've got people who are listening to me and people who are supporting me. But I've never really, I'm sure I've said thank you in the workplace, but I haven't really thought about gratitude as a topic within the workplace context. So I'm really interested in, what is it that organizations are looking for you to bring to them, and what is it that you bring to them when you go and talk about gratitude in the workplace?
Yeah, you are right that gratitude in the workplace is hard to get and hard to give sometimes. And you have pointed to something really interesting, that a lot of people may feel at least some gratitude for the work and for their work environment, but they rarely ever say it out loud. So there is a gap between thinking grateful thoughts and actually sharing them. But the beautiful thing is that when we share gratitude, it can multiply, right? It has a positive impact not only on your health, but also it makes the other people feel good. One study from 2012 by John Templeton Foundation found out that 1 in 3 people at work never showed gratitude in the workplace. So if you are working in a team of 3, you've got one person who never shows gratitude, you've got another person who rarely says thank you, and then you've got one person that maybe sometimes says thank you. Then I think then you know that it's really hard to get gratitude at work. And this again has to do with the self-serving bias that I mentioned at the beginning. It has to do with the negativity bias as well, because, well, you and your manager have the tendency to focus on what's going wrong and not what's going not on what's going right. So we really need to train ourselves to spot the valuable contributions of our team members. And if gratitude at work is so important. And contrary to some popular belief that people are motivated by fear, people are actually far more motivated by appreciation. And whereas it's true that we might get motivated for a while if we are worried about something, we may go extra mile to do something, to deliver, a certain project, to make our clients happy, our managers, and so on. But long term, we are just unable to keep the same motivation. We also start asking ourselves, well, is it really worth it? I am doing all that effort. I am going extra mile day after day, and I don't even get a thank you. And in worst case scenarios, we see organizations that have teams that don't respect the manager, start talking badly about the manager because they never say thank you. And gratitude is actually such a simple thing, and it's so motivating, right? When people feel appreciated at work, they are far more likely to contribute. They are likely to innovate. They are likely to stay. And we know that rotation is turnover is a difficult topic at the moment. So expressing thank you doesn't really cost anything, but it can have a very good impact on the overall team performance and company's culture. So again, if you're listening to it and you're thinking about it, and you think like, yeah, okay, I would like actually to show some more gratitude to my colleagues, then by all means do so, because when you start doing this, you will see that that your appreciation is going to be appreciated as well by the others. Mm-hmm. And if we can be the first one who start doing it more often, we actually, gratitude is contagious. So it's worth really doing that. Some studies also show that especially employees who have been in a company for a long time, or employees who are a little bit older, they are often taken for granted. So look around you, see what kind of employees are being taken for granted, who never gets gratitude. Also, administrative employees, customer service employees are really often the last ones to get gratitude. So you can really make somebody's day by showing them a little bit of appreciation. But in order to do that, I think the first step is to get really, really curious about what people are doing, because you can't show gratitude if you don't know what your colleagues are doing. And when you show gratitude at work, then think about it. Think about the formula. It's important that gratitude is authentic, right? So don't say, thank you, just to say thank you. But it really needs to come from the heart. So it needs to be authentic. It needs to be specific. All right. So you really need to, the more you can say thank you for, and specify what is it that you are grateful for, the better. And then you can also say why. If you can say, why are you grateful for that? Then that thank you is really going to make a positive impact on somebody's lives. Because saying thank you in an email, thanks, is good. Thanks for the report is very good. But saying thanks for the detailed report, because now I feel much more prepared for my meeting with the customer. And I think that with this insight, I can really convince them to go for this deal, is so much more powerful. So really try to say using words like, thank you for, and then because, and see how it is being received. And then maybe last thing is that it has to be timely as well. So it's much better to say thank you quickly after something is done than at the year-end review. I mean, you are likely to forget about it by the time, and in the time, if it's 6 months since something significant happened, and you say it only then, in that 6 months, you might have lost that employee. So in my work with
So your formula is authentic, specific, and timely. Did I
correct?
Get all of them? Yeah. When you were describing using gratitude at work initially, I was thinking you need to be really careful that it comes across with authenticity, because people, it doesn't add any value whatsoever if you do it and don't come across as being authentic. And again, I think that takes us back to journaling. If you're not quite sure how to be grateful to people or what to be grateful to them for, I think if you take the time to journal and explore what is it they do and how does that contribute to what is it you do, then I think some of those insights will come out. So before we go, I wanted to ask you for a tip for somebody if they are absolutely new to gratitude and gratitude practice. Where would you suggest somebody starts?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so one of my favorite exercises that I keep doing till today, but one of the things that I started with as well, is asking myself at the end of the day, what is the best thing that happened today? So normally we go to bed and we think about all the things that went wrong today, and all the things that annoyed us, and all the things that that weren't perfect, and we may worry about the day ahead. But if we ask ourselves, what is the best thing that happened today, we can finish the day on a positive note, and it will have a good positive impact on our sleep and on our overall well-being. And for me, I love doing this. I do it every day. You can do it with your partner. You can do it as well with your family members. You can do it earlier in the day. For example, you can do it at the dinner table. You can ask everybody, what is the best thing that happened today for you? And it opens door to wonderful conversations. And it shifts your focus. So I think that is something really, really easy to start with. I know that people sometimes have difficulties with saying words like "I am so grateful for," because it sounds so grandiose and so big and so unnatural, right? In some cases, if we are not brought up to really use that kind of vocabulary, then just saying, okay, the best thing that happened for me today is this and this, is also showing appreciation, and it's an easy entry. Then I think having a gratitude diary is a wonderful thing to do as well, because as I said, it gives you time to ground yourself, to to really start feeling the benefits of gratitude, right? So it's important to take some time for it. And I love journaling as well, as you said. And I also have a free template on my website, which has 10 questions to review your 2022 through the lens of gratitude. So if you would like to schedule a date with yourself, take 20-30 minutes, get a mug of something hot, get a cozy blanket and a pen, and then you can get that template on my website, and it's mygratitudechallenge.com/review. Then you can print it and you can fill it up, and I think it will help you to make peace with the past, to appreciate the people and the positive experiences that you have, to find the silver linings in the hardships, and to wave goodbye to 2022 and to really make space for the new and exciting in 2023. And then, of course, if you would like some more hand holding, if you would like a daily prompt, if you would like different exercises and different themes, then I am here for you as well. And you are most welcome to join my gratitude challenge. And the next edition starts on February 6th, but the registration closed already on January 19th.
Perfect. And we will include all of those links in the show notes. So I think that we've probably covered everything. You've given all of the details of the review, and do you want to just mention the website for your gratitude challenge?
Yes. So the website for my gratitude challenge is mygratitudechallenge.com, and you will find there the description of the program. As I said, it's 28 days to practice gratitude. Every day there is a theme, there is a short video, it's 5 minutes, that takes you through some research around gratitude, that gives you a task to do, of course, because it's all about practicing gratitude. And additionally, you are going to get home a gratitude box. And the gratitude box is full of delightful surprises. And on certain days of the challenge, you will be able to open a goodie. And that goodie is going to be related to your task. So it will help you to execute on your daily challenge. And then, of course, we have a lot of fun with our group calls and in the Facebook group as well. So I hope you like it.
Perfect. Perfect. I really liked your suggestion about gratitude at the dinner table, and to ask everybody what's the best thing that's happened in their day. I feel that so I don't come from a religious background, but I feel that there's something that saying grace brings to the meal place, that sense of gratitude and everybody being together, and so I think that that's a nice alternative to that, but bringing that same vibe of gratitude to the dinner table. So thank you so much for your time, and thank you for all of those insights. It was lovely having you, and we will include all of those links in the show notes. Thank you.
Thank you so much for the invitation, Hannah. It has been a pleasure.
These podcasts are here to help you manage your stress and burnout, and your feedback is really valuable. So please rate this podcast and also drop me a note with any questions, suggestions, or feedback that you might have. One of the most common questions I get asked is, where should I start? And I believe that the best place for you to start is to learn how to soothe your nervous system. I've created a free download with instructions for 5 different ways that you can do just this, and all of them work pretty much instantly. It's called the Essential Toolkit for Management Consultants. You can download it now at www.hannahholden.co.uk/essential. One last thing, it's the legal language. This podcast is presented solely for educational and entertainment purposes. It is not intended as a substitute for the advice of your doctor, psychotherapist, or other qualified professional.